Hey guys, it's Shoji Roll. This is going to be titled as a re-review, but it's kinda, sorta not that, but it is that. There are just a couple of things that I missed during the original review that I'd like to go over. The first thing is articulation. So during the review, I was unaware that this dorsal plate actually is articulated, very slightly, but it is articulated. While I was messing with him, I noticed that it was wiggling, and it's not loose, and it's not popping out at all, and I don't want to, yank on it, but it does wiggle around. The second thing is, during the review, while I was showing off the neck articulation and the torso articulation, when I had him bent all the way down, there was an atrocious gap. Like, I probably said that wrong, but whatever. Anyway, there was a horrendous gap starting here between this I cannot talk today. I apologize, guys. This loose piece and the upper torso, or chest, or whatever you want to call it, the upper body. I didn't call any attention to that, and it was one of the reasons I gave it a 9.5 during the review, which, if it stayed like that, it probably should have been more like a 8. But there is something that you can do to fix that. So what I was unaware of, I'll start with the head. Inside of here, let me pop the head off. Inside of here, you see these two tabs in there? You can probably see them reflecting. But right there and right there. There are two tabs in there, and they're supposed to be like this. They're supposed to be in a T shape, horizontal. I didn't know that. I accidentally popped the head off, and I was like, oh. Inside the neck, you can probably see it. Let me grab my toothpick here. Excuse me. You see that little slot right there? They don't go into that, but they're supposed to be aligned with those, and what that does is, as you're moving this, it helps pull everything up. During the review, I kept pulling it up myself. You don't need to do that. All you need to do is pop the head off and then rotate this to make sure that it's horizontal, and as you see here. The second thing is inside of here, right there, that's a hinge, and I'll show you what that does. Let me get the head popped back on, and I'll show you what that does. Alrighty, so now that the head's popped back on, a nitpick that I had is when you were utilizing this articulation in the neck, this plate was very far away from these, and it felt kind of isolated. It still kind of is, but what I was unaware of is that you can utilize that hinge to pull the head up and then push it back down. I was not aware of this, and honestly, being able to do that helps a lot and completely eliminates that nitpick for me. So you can push that back down and then kind of slightly move the upper plate down, or the neck plate, and it's less isolated, and it's significantly less gappy. Like, if I move his head up and push that joint down, there is zero gapping in the throat, and he can still look up perfectly fine. But if you want him to look up more, you can, but realistically, this is all you need for him to look up, and there is zero gapping, so you don't need to pull on these at all. It's the same thing for down here. When I was utilizing that ab articulation and torso articulation, it's the exact same thing. You can pull it up and shift it up to have more articulation, or you can shift it down and still have him bend forward. The gapping is way better. I wish that I would have called attention to that during the review. I did not, so that's my bad. hopefully as I get better with recording and doing these reviews, I won't have to make these quote-unquote re-review videos. The next thing that I wanted to touch on is, well, you can see better that he's not quite looking straight now. But the next thing I want to touch on is, during the review, I don't think I emphasized how genuinely good of a Godzilla this is. This is the best articulated Godzilla on the market. Just period. He is better than the Final Wars Godzilla. This is honestly better than the Rebirth body. And the Rebirth body it used to be the best Godzilla body just out there on the market. He has the best tail articulation. I watched Figure Mania's review on this guy, and you can do the same thing where you have the tail curled and him up in the air with his tail. I'm not going to do that, but you can do it. He has the best tail articulation of any Godzilla. Any. You can have him hug his own tail, right? I didn't, do it right, but you can have him hugging his own tail. It's the reason I say this, or say that, or I believe why I believe that this is the best articulated Godzilla figure on the market, is because you have amazing articulation without sacrificing any of the aesthetics, any of the sculpt. I know you get that with the Rebirth body, but with the Rebirth body, if you shift, well, there's still a gap there, but with the Rebirth body, I feel like the gapping is a little more extreme when you shift the hips down. I could be wrong. We can check right now, actually. I have the Rebirth body right here. The Rebirth body also doesn't have those little caps inside that help cover up that gapping. But if you shift the hip down, there's the gap on him. Let me shift his hip down. I was wrong. They're just about the same. I feel like... No, his is... Over here is about the same, but I feel like Rebirth bodies is a little more intense. I could be wrong. Point is, this Godzilla has everything you could ever want in an articulated Godzilla. To be frank with you, if this Godzilla ended up being a dud, I was just gonna boycott MonsterArts. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Tamashii Nations. I was just gonna completely boycott MonsterArts if this figure ended up being a dud. But no, this is some of Tamashii Nation's best work. He has the best head sculpt out of any MonsterArts Godzilla. The only one that comes close to this, or well, is on the same level of a head sculpt, is the GMK Godzilla. And I'm not saying that because this is my favorite Godzilla design. I'm saying that as in it's just the best looking. It does the best job at depicting the Godzilla it's trying to depict. Same with the GMK. I'm not saying other MonsterArts Godzilla figures are bad. I'm just saying that this MonsterArts Godzilla is really, really good. So, if you want to keep getting this quality, I can't even keep my hands off of this thing. I love this thing so much. If you want to have this quality be consistent, please pick this up. Show Tamashii Nations that this is what we want. This is what we want out of our Godzilla figures. We want excellent articulation and excellent sculpt. The only nitpick that I have with this figure is that he's not looking perfectly straight. But if you turn him to the side, he looks just fine. I've kind of accepted that not looking straight, being a little googly-eyed is just the standard, but there have definitely been way, way, way worse cases of the googly eyes. What was it? The extreme burning Godzilla that had the smoke effects, those eyes were awful. The -1 Godzilla's eyes were awful, so we've definitely seen way worse. But I just really wanted to highlight how genuinely good this Godzilla is. We're hitting about 11-ish minutes. I didn't want this video to be this long. I just got off work, but I just wanted to kind of highlight those things and go over a couple of things that I feel like I missed. I guess just for shits and giggles, we can do some more size comparisons, and I can show you what he looks like with some vehicles and a breath effect. So I will be right back. Alright guys, here is what he looks like next to the MonsterArts 2004 or Final Wars Godzilla and the MonsterArts 2002 Kiryu. I'm pretty sure it's 2002, I could be wrong. Or Mechagodzilla or Mechagodzilla 3, whatever you want to call him. I think Kiryu sounds cooler, so I'm going to call him Kiryu. This is, fun fact, my favorite MonsterArts ever. I love this thing. I absolutely adore it, but I'm rambling. But here's what he looks like next to these two. I know that I already showed him next to Final Wars, but during the review I kind of had Final Wars hunch not standing straight. So I just wanted to show that he is, in fact, taller than Final Wars Godzilla. Here he is with the 2001 S.H.MonsterArts GMK Goji and the exclusive Atomic Breath Color -1. He's bigger than -1. Him and GMK are around the same size. I think GMK might be just the slightest bit bigger. No, I think Godzilla 2000 is a teeny tiny bit bigger than GMK. I think he's just the slightest bit taller. Well, this is the Atomic Breath Color GMK. I forgot to mention that, but it's whatever. But here's what he looks like with these two. Next, here he is with S.H.MonsterArts, if I can talk, Rebirth Godzilla, and S.H.MonsterArts Bio Goji. And he absolutely towers over both of these. He is definitely bigger than both of these. But they look great. No complaints at all. I still think that this Godzilla 2000 is his body or build, however you want to say, his engineering is leagues better than the Rebirth body. For the longest time, the Rebirth body was the best Godzilla body until Final Wars, but I think that this Godzilla just outclasses both of them. Next, we have some Showa era. We have the Sci-Fi Revoltech Baragon and the S.H.MonsterArts 1964 Godzilla, and he towers over both of these little guys. Next, here he is with Biollante, S.H.MonsterArts Biollante. They do not scale at all. She is still bigger than him. I think they look cool together. You can kind of get a save the earth, destroy monsters melee kind of feel with them, but I think they look great together. No, they don't scale at all, but still. Next up, we have him with the Red Spiral Beam Ray, and I think this looks phenomenal with this figure. I liked this figure so much that I actually bought a second one so that I can repaint it into Spitfire colors, just so I can use this beam effect with them. I do have the Godzilla Rebirth beam effect, but it's packed away somewhere. I don't really feel like grabbing it, but I think this looks phenomenal. It fits in his mouth very well because he's got that big old frog mouth, but it fits well. It looks great with him. Lastly, here he is with a couple of Maser tanks and the Super X2. I also think these look great. I know that these are Heisei era vehicles, but whatever, they look great with him. But yeah. So my final thoughts are definitely buy this figure. Show Tamashii Nations that this is what we want. They are giving us what we've been asking for, which is better QC. And we're getting it. So support it. Show them that this is what we want. Like I said, I think my personal opinion is that this is the perfect Godzilla figure. Great sculpt, great paint, amazing articulation. He's definitely going to look great in your display in your collection. I apologize if this video was a little rambly at parts. I'm floored with this figure. It kind of took a little bit to sink in. Like I said, hopefully in the future, as I continue to make videos and continue to make reviews, I won't have to make these re-review videos, but you know, it is what it is, and I'll get better with time. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe if you want, hit the bell icon. Check out my Instagram for my photography. I am going to take some more pictures of this figure and post them on my Instagram tonight, so be on the lookout for that. And I believe that'll do it. See ya.